is the African News Update on Top Accolade News. Across Africa tonight, the forces of power and protest are clashing in a series of high-stakes showdowns, from rewritten constitutions to tightened borders. The continent's future hangs in the balance. We're breaking down the 8 headlines that define this moment. This isn't just news, it is the heartbeat of the continent in motion. For headlines, Chad Assembly approves term extension for President Deby. Guinea heads to referendum on constitution allowing junta leader to run. Malawi count votes in high-stakes presidential election. Uganda seeks $358 million loan for power exports. We start in Chad, where the ink of democracy is being rewritten, not by the people's will, but by the ruler's pen. Chad's National Assembly has endorsed constitutional changes, extending presidential term from 5 to 7 years and removing term limits, paving the way for President Mahamat Idris Deby, who seized power in 2021 after his father's death, to entrench his rule. The Senate will give a final vote on October 13th, with approval seen as certain. In a country long shaped by dynastical powers, the revisions send a clear signal. Democracy shrinks when constitutions are rewritten to fit the ruler, not the people. From Chad's parliament rewriting the rules of power, we move to Guinea, where the people themselves are being asked to vote on a constitution that critics say is democracy in disguise. Guinea votes on Sunday on a new constitution that would extend presidential terms and allow the junta leader to contest elections despite his 2021 pledge not to. Opposition parties are banned from campaigning. Critics call it a power grab, and right groups allege repression. With over 6.7 million voters registered, approval requires a simple majority. In a nation scarred by coups, the ballot poses a stark question. Is this transition towards democracy or simply a reset of authoritarianism in civil clothes? From Guinea's ballot on a new constitution to Malawi's high-stake presidential vote, democracy is being tested in different ways across the continent. Malawi began tallying votes on Tuesday after a tight presidential race between President Lazarus Chakwera and former President Peter Mutharika, raising the possibility of a runoff. Voters also chose lawmakers and local leaders amid rising inflation, fuel shortages, and deepening poverty, with other candidates including former President Joyce Banda and Vice President Michael Usi as in the contest. Analyst says it is a two-horse race. As ballots are counted, one truth looms. In a nation weary of promises, the people's patience is running thinner than the ballot papers themselves. While Malawi wrestles with political uncertainty, next door in Uganda, the debate is about money, how much to borrow, and how to spend wisely. Uganda plans to borrow $358 million from the African Development Bank, Arab Bank for Development in Africa, and Standard Chartered Bank to finance key projects, including a power grid link with South Sudan, a northwest road to the DRC, and expanded clean water access. Parliament will review the proposal before being approved. For a country rich in new energy surplus, infrastructure can light homes and fuel trade, but only if borrowed money builds more than debt. You're watching the African News Update on Top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Thanks for staying with us. Washington is now rewriting the rules of Zimbabwe's future on the global stage. A new bill in the United States House of Representatives, introduced by Republican Brian Mast, proposes repealing the 2001 Zimbabwe sanctions law that blocked access to international loans but ties the move to full compensation for white former commercial farmers. If passed, it would end restrictions that have isolated Zimbabwe from global finance for nearly 25 years. For Harare, the bill is both an opening and a warning. The doors to credit may unlock, but only if history's debts are first unpaid, are first repaid in full. As Zimbabwe faces conditions tied to old debt, Kenya is confronting its own unresolved past, this time in the form of a murder case involving a British soldier and a call for long overdue accountability. A Kenyan High Court has ordered the arrest of a British national accused of murdering 21-year-old Agnes Wanjiru near a British Army training ground in Nanyuki in 2012, with prosecutors confirming plans for an extradition request. Wanjiru's body was found in a septic tank after she was last seen with British soldiers, and her family says they have waited too long for justice. The court declined to release the suspect's name, a move raising questions about transparency. As the UK vows cooperation, the case underscores a painful truth: justice delayed is justice denied, but never forgotten. To the digital spotlight, Somalia shows how a viral remix can spark arrest, debate, and a fight over freedom of expression. Somali police have arrested 4 TikTokers accused of insulting President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud in a viral dance video that altered his 2022 campaign song with derogatory lyrics. Authorities said the suspect will face charges under laws against incitement and disrespecting institutions, reigniting debate over free expression in a fragile democracy. In a nation where satire collides with state power, Somalia's digital battleground shows one thing clearly: a remix can shake more than just the dance floor. And finally, in sports, Faith Kipyegon claimed 4th World 1,500-meter titles in Tokyo. Kenya's Faith Kipyegon cemented her legacy as the queen of middle-distance running by winning her 4th World 1,500-meter crown at the World Athletics Championship in Tokyo, clocking 3 hours, 52 minutes, 15 seconds. Already a 3-time Olympic champion and world record holder, Kipyegon now hosts 3 of the 4 fastest winning times in the World Championship history. In a sport where rivals chase medals, Kipyegon continues to race only the clock, proof that greatness is not about beating others, but redefining limits. And that's our rundown. Whether it is on the streets, the court, or on the track, the pursuit of power, justice, and human potential continues to shape the story of a continent on the move. I am Ojoromi Okocha, and this is the African News Update on Top Accolade News, keeping you connected to the pulse of the continent.